Good day, everyone, and a very happy Diwali to everyone celebrating. My name is Ashwathy. Um, I am a designer and researcher from India. My interest lies in working on projects dealing with design activism, circular economy, and future thinking. And I'm trained as a industrial designer, and I graduated from the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad in 2019. I'm currently working in the industry as a design researcher, and I actively use tools such as system thinking, behavioral change, and critical inquiry to inform my research. My interest in upcycling stems from previous projects that I've worked on, dealing with consumerism and circular economy, which are listed here. Out of this, the project Designing for the Second Life, which was a systemic design inquiry for sustainable packaging in the appliance manufacturing industry, was previously presented at the International Upcycling Symposium in 2020. And today, I'm going to present some exploration I did that sits at the intersection of upcycling, behavior change, and intervention design. The research you will see is a work in progress, and the goal of this project is to design an intervention framework based on the Combi behavior model and the behavior change wheel that addresses systems of behavior needed to promote and scale upcycling. In the next 15 minutes, what I plan to cover is why Combi and behavior change wheel for upcycling. Next, a brief introduction to the Combi model and behavior change wheel. Third, I would like to talk about the ecosystem of upcycling, and then on applying Combi model and behavior change to upcycling. And finally, ending with a possible new framework that can be made and collaboration opportunities. So I'll begin with the first section. Um it has always been a challenge to facilitate adoption, action, and preference towards upcycling. Although the benefits of upcycling have been widely discussed in the last decade, various upcycling interventions haven't been very effective at scale. Also, we see a growing trend towards promoting upcycling at individual level, but there is a lack of comprehensive intervention toolkit that guides us in looking at behavior change promoting upcycling at an individual and systems level. In their paper, The I-Frame and S-Frame, Nick Chatter and George Lewinstein discuss how focusing on individual level solutions has led to behavioral public policy astray. They say that an influential line of thinking in behavioral science is that many societies' most pressing problems can be addressed cheaply and effectively at the level of individual without modifying the system in which individuals operate. And that this has guided many behavioral scientists to frame policy problems in individual, not systemic terms. That is, to adopt what we call I frame rather than S frame. The difference may be more consequential than those who have operated within I frame have understood in deflecting attention and support away from S frame policies. Indeed, highlighting iframe is a long established objective of corporate opponents of concerted systemic actions such as regulation and taxation. The Combi model and behavior change wheel is designed to help intervention designers move from behavioral analysis of the problem to intervention design using evidence base. In their book, The Behavior Change Wheel, the authors mentioned that individual behavior is influenced by social opportunities in the form of immediate social contacts and wider cultural norms. The behavioral change wheel goes beyond this in recognizing the importance of groups and populations by allowing all the parameters to be specified at group or population level. Thus, if you're seeking to change the behavior of population, you can specify the behavior in population terms. That is, in terms of proportion who smoke cigarettes, exceed the speed limit of motorways, etc. And if you're seeking to change behavior of individuals or groups, you can specify behavior at that level. Maybe like increasing the mean number of hours per week spent at the gym. With advances in technology, some of the defining features of individual interventions can be applied to the whole population, and so individual population distinction breakdowns. Thus, Combi model and behavior change wheel offers itself as a great base to start building a framework that helps identify interventions to promote and scale upcycling at an individual as well as a population level. In this section, I would like to introduce the components and steps involved in using Combi model and behavior change wheel. The behavior change wheel was developed from 19 frameworks of behavior change identified in systematic literature review. And it provides a systematic way of identifying relevant intervention function and policy categories based on what is understood about the target behavior. General intervention functions can be translated into specific techniques for changing behavior. As you can see, the behavior change wheel consists of 3 layers. The hub at the center identifies the source of behavior that can prove fruitful targets for intervention. It uses the COMBI, which stands for Capability, Opportunity, Motivation, and Behavior model. This model acknowledges that behavior is a main component of an interacting system that includes all of these components. Interactions must change one or more of them in order to reconfigure the system and reduce the risk of reverting. Surrounding the hub is a layer of 9 intervention functions to choose from based on the particular combi analysis one has undertaken. They are education, persuasion, incentivization, coercion, training, restriction, environmental restructuring, modeling, and enablement. The wheel's outer layer, the rim, identifies 7 policy categories that can help with delivery of these intervention functions. They are communication or marketing, guidelines, fiscal measures, regulation, legislation, environmental or social planning, and service provision. Here you can see the behavior change intervention design process described in this model. It is divided into 3 stages. Stage 1 is about understanding the behavior, wherein the step 1 addresses what is the problem you're trying to solve. Steps 2 and 3 is about what behavior you are attempting to change and how. Step 4 asks what will it take to bring about the desired behavior change. And in the stage 2, which is about identifying intervention options, steps 5 and 6 covers what type of interventions are likely to bring about the desired change. And finally, in the stage 3, which is about identifying implementation options, steps 7 and 8 addresses what should be the specific intervention content and how should it be implemented. We'll see these steps being applied in the upcoming sessions. Moving on to the next section on upcycling ecosystem. This is the cradle to cradle concept. As you can see, the stages which are included in the upcycling process starts with a resource, which is then directed through a process which converts it into a product for the user. The method used to create ecosystem diagram of upcycling here was to look at existing research to derive a set of upcycling behavior, barriers, and enablers, then build on that to create toolkit for testing and evaluation. The key references that were used are listed here. So if we come back to the basic flow of upcycling from resource to a need, we will realize that upcycling innovation can be of 3 types: resource-led, process-led, and need-led. The key stakeholders involved in each of these stages add another depth to the flow. So at the resource stage, there is a there is the previous user of the product nearing the end of its proposed life, as well as the material suppliers. We have product designers and makers at the upcycling process stage. And finally, we have retailers and the new users of the upcycle product at the need stage. Each of these stakeholders at various stage has desired target behavior that aid in promotion and scaling upcycling. These key target behaviors are highlighted here. Now that we have identified some of the key target behavior required to scale the system, we can proceed to the steps of implementing the remaining steps of behavior change intervention design process. Here you can see some of the worksheets that are provided by the authors of the book, The Behavior Change Wheel, a guide to designing intervention. You will see these worksheets in action in the following slides. With the key target behaviors at different stages were mapped with respective COM-B components to identify what is needed in order for the target behavior to occur. Then following with the remaining steps of the behavior change intervention design. Next, I would like to present the initial draft of Upcycling Behavior Intervention Toolkit. So the flow of toolkit is shown here. It moves from identifying the type of upcycling innovation to finally designing the appropriate interventions. So one can begin by identifying the type of upcycling innovation, then move on to identify the required target behavior from any of the supporting stakeholders, and finally map the detailed components of capability, opportunity, and motivation desire needed to perform the desired behavior. That these components are linked to the most effective intervention function, and finally to the policy categories. As a result, the user can evaluate all possible interventions in their upcycling context at each stage of using this tool kit. So anyone interested in scaling and upcycling innovation, whether it's resource-led, process-led, or need-led, can identify the best possible intervention strategies needed to scale and promote their idea by addressing the systems of behavior required. Now, I would like to wrap this session by discussing the next steps in the development of this toolkit. I'm looking for collaboration opportunities to put this toolkit through a series of workshops. The goal of these workshops will be to test and refine the toolkit by filling in the gaps, as well as to develop a set of case studies. And that's all. Thank you. I would like to hear about your ideas and feedback.